Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This is going to be another Commander deck tech for my boxing league. If you can see here with this image, I went ahead and restarted my league. So I'll be starting from scratch essentially because Kamigawa Neon Dynasty came out. Pretty cool looking set. So I wanted to go ahead and give it a shot because I loved the artwork that was coming with these brand new cards, and I really wanted to make some decks and showcase this new set that came out. So the commander that I decided to start out with my new league set here is Isshin 2 Heavens is 1. He's a red, white, and a black to play legendary creature, human samurai, 3/4. He says if a creature attacking would cause a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers an additional time. It took me a while to make this deck because initially I was trying to really focus heavily on Isshin's ability here, and I focused primarily on creating a deck with samurais and warriors so that the attack triggers from those particular types of cards would go off multiple times with Isshin. But when I went ahead and started the process of making the deck, I realized I didn't really have enough steam or ramp or anything that was going to, continue to produce something. So I went ahead and started from scratch with the deck and built this Reanimator deck that I'm hoping will work out well. I haven't play tested it just yet, but this is as complete as it's going to be. I'm hoping to get some games in the course of these next few weeks, and if I have the opportunity, I'll let you guys know how it went. So let's go ahead and get started. I'll show you what I got here. Running Dockside Chef for a black. I can pay 1 in a black and sacrifice an artifact or creature to draw a card. Pretty good. Also running the Reinforced Ronin. He's 1 red to play. He's got haste. He's a 2/2. At the beginning of your end step, return Reinforced Ronin to its owner's hand. Okay. Really, I'm using him for his channel ability. So I can pay 1 in a red, discard this guy, draw a card. Nice. Also running Aki Ronin for a colorless and a red. It's a 1/3. He says whenever a samurai or warrior you control attacks alone, you may discard a card, and if you do, draw a card. This is pretty good because it's giving me opportunity for answers or expanding my state, depending. Also, any cards that I pitch to the graveyard, I have the opportunity to get them back. So I like this. Running Automated Artificer for 2 colorless. I can tap him to add colors to my mana pool. I spend this mana only to activate an ability or cast an artifact spell, which after taking a look at my deck, I realized I had enough to warrant keeping this guy in the deck. Gotta do what you gotta do to get some ramp, right? Also running Dokushi Silencer for a colorless and a black. He's got ninjutsu for the same amount. It's 2/1. He says whenever he deals combat damage to a player, you may discard a creature card. We like doing that. When you do, destroy target creature or planeswalker that player controls. Very good. I love this. It helps me get stuff into my graveyard, and I can destroy my opponent's whatnot if I have the ability to. Very good. Also running Ogrehead Helm for a colorless and a red. Artifact creature equipment, Ogre. 2/2. You can reconfigure him to equip him onto another creature. If you do equip creature, it gets +2/+2. He also says that whenever this guy or equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, you may sacrifice it. If you do, discard your hand, then draw 3 cards. I really love that. Running the Selfless Samurai for colors and a white. Whenever a samurai or warrior you control attacks alone, it gains lifelink till end of turn. That's okay. Not really a primary focus, especially with Isshin. Giving the samurai or warrior double lifelink doesn't really work. However, it does have I can sacrifice Selfless Samurai, and then another target creature you control gains indestructible till end of turn. This is good in case I need this for, opportunity's sake. So, excellent. Also running a Spirited Companion for a colorless and a white. It's an enchantment creature. Dog. Says that when it enters the battlefield, I get to draw a card. Running a Chain Flail Centipede for 2 colorless and a black. Another artifact creature. Equipment. Insect. 2/2. It says whenever a Chain Flail Centipede or equipped creature attacks, it gets +2/+0 until end of turn. I can reconfigure for 2. Isshin will make it so that Chain Flail Centipede or the equipped creature will get double triggers off of that. So ideally they get +4/+0 to end of turn, making Chain Flail Centipede a 6/2 while Isshin's on the field, or adding an additional 4 to whoever it is that this is equipped to. So pretty good. Running Circuit Mender for 3 colorless. He says that when he enters the battlefield, you get to gain 2 life. When he leaves the battlefield, you get to draw a card. Pretty good. Running a Cloudsteel Kirin in this deck for 2 colorless and a white. He is also an artifact creature equipment. He's Kirin, 3/2. He's got flying. It says equipped creature has flying, and you can't lose the game, and your opponents can't win the game, and you can reconfigure him for 5. This is very powerful, especially in Commander. So when I was able to pull this, I decided, you know what, I'm running these colors. I need to run this card in this deck. At least, if anything, it'll help me buy time. So, pretty powerful. Love that. Also running a Grave Lighter for 2 colors and a black. It's got flying. It says that when it enters the battlefield, I get to draw a card if a creature died this turn. Otherwise, each player sacrifices a creature. Very good in this deck. Either I get to draw something or everybody's sacking something. I like both of those options, and I have the power to decide which one it is that I'm going to be playing. So, very good. Also running Greasefang Okiba Boss for a colorless white and a black. Legendary creature, Rat Pilot, 4/3. Says that at the beginning of combat on your turn, return target vehicle card from your graveyard to the battlefield. It gains haste. Return it to its owner's hand at the beginning of your next end step. Very good. Also running Imperial Subduer for 2 colors and a white. It's a human samurai that says whenever a samurai or warrior you control attacks alone, tap target creature you don't control. With Isshin, that means you're tapping 2 creatures down. And in Commander, that's pretty good, giving you the opportunity to go through on some people's defenses potentially, or if anything, drawing the attention of all the other players onto a particular player since their defenses are down. Very good. Running Nashi, Moon Sage's Scion for colorless and double black. Legendary creature, Rat Ninja, 3/2, and ninjutsu for 3 colors and black. It says that whenever he deals damage to a player, you get to exile the top card of each player's library. That's pretty good. Till end of turn, you may play one of those cards. If you cast a spell this way, pay life equal to the mana value rather than paying its mana cost. That's very good. giving you options, especially if you're missing your land drops, or if you happen to pull something incredibly powerful, and instead of having to pay your mana, you can pay life, or you do pay life to pay for the mana value. Very good. Running Narika Yamazaki, the Poet, for 2 colorless and a white. Legendary creature, human samurai, 3/2 with vigilance. She says that whenever a samurai or warrior you control attacks alone, you may cast target enchantment card from your graveyard this turn. With Isshin, that means that the trigger goes off twice. I have the ability to cast 2 enchantment cards from my graveyard this turn. Pretty good. Running a Peerless Samurai for 2 colors and a black. It's got Menace, and he says that whenever Samurai Warrior you control attacks alone, the next spell you cast this turn costs 1 less to cast. And with Isshin, that means it costs 2 less to cast. Very good. Also running a Rado Sentinel for 3 colorless. He's got Defender. When he enters the battlefield, target player mills 3 cards. I could pay 3, put target card from a graveyard on the bottom of its owner's library. Very good. This helps me grabbing cards from my graveyard that I want to replay, or gives me the opportunity to do so. Or if somebody else is doing something graveyard related, I'm able to stop that with this guy. Very good. Running Scrap Welder for 2 colorless and a red. I can tap him to sacrifice an artifact with mana value X. Return target artifact card with mana value less than X from your graveyard to the battlefield. It gains haste till end of turn. Very good in this deck. Helps me be able to grab my artifacts back from my graveyard. Also, it's a sack outlet for artifacts, so love that. Undercity Scrounger for 2 colorless and a black. I can tap her to create a treasure token. Really need that in these colors. I can activate it only if a creature died this turn, which hopefully I'll be making sure that happens. Very good. Running Unforgiving One for 2 colorless and a black. It's 2/3 Spirit with Menace. Whenever Unforgiving One attacks, return target creature card with mana value X or less from your graveyard to the battlefield, where X is the number of modified creatures you control. With Isshin, that triggers twice. So, beautiful. Running Atsushi, the Blazing Sky, for 2 colors and double red. Legendary creature, Dragon Spirit, 4/4 with flying and trample. Says when he dies, I get to choose one. Exile the top 2 cards of your library. Until end of your next turn, you may play those cards, or I may create 3 treasure tokens. Very good. Able to recur this guy. Help me get some value off there. Running Heiko Yamazaki, the General, for 3 colors and a red. Legendary creature, human samurai, 3/3 with trample. It says whenever a samurai or warrior you control attacks alone, you may cast target artifact card from your graveyard this turn. With Isshin, triggers twice. I can cast 2 artifacts from my graveyard. Very good. Love that. Also running Hidetsugu, Devouring Chaos for 3 colors and black. Legendary creature, Ogre Demon, 4/4. I can pay black and sacrifice a creature to scry 2. Nice sack outlet there. I can also pay 2 and a red and tap him to exile a top card of my library. I may play that card this turn. And when you exile a non-land card this way, Hidetsugu Devouring Chaos deals damage equal to the exile card's mana value to any target. Pretty good. Also running Ryu Storm's Edge for 2 colors, red and white. Legendary creature, human samurai, 3/3 with first strike. He says whenever a samurai or warrior you control attacks alone, untap it. If it's the first combat phase this turn, there's an additional combat phase after this phase. And Isshin will help trigger that twice. So I'll get 3 combat phases in a single turn. Excellent. Running Thundering Raiju for 2 colorless and double red. He's a Spirit 3/3 with haste. Whenever Thundering Raiju attacks, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. Then Thundering Raiju deals X damage to each opponent, where X is the number of modified creatures you control other than Thundering Raiju. Very good. If nobody does anything about this, he can get out of control. I can constantly put +1/+1 counters on my guys. And even if I just pick Thundering Raiju and not really worrying about his ability, he just constantly gets bigger and bigger. So, excellent card. Running Tawashi Guidebot for 4 colorless. It enters the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. I could pay 4 and tap it to draw a card. And this ability costs 1 less to activate for each modified creature you control. So, out of the gate, once I put a +1/+1 counter on somebody, the ability to draw a card drops down to 3. Love it. Running Ao, the Dawn Sky for 3 colorless and double white, legendary creature, Dragon Spirit, 5/4. It's got flying and vigilance. And when it dies, I get to pick one. Look at the top 7 cards of your library. Put any number of non-land permanent cards with total mana value 4 or less from among them onto the battlefield. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order, or put 2 +1/+1 counters on each permanent you control. That's a creature or vehicle. This guy's excellent in this deck, especially since I'm doing Graveyard Recursion. I can get this guy to die, get the trigger, pick something beneficial to me at the moment, and figure out a way to get him back and hopefully die again so I can keep going on that. Love these dragons. Running Asari Captain for 3 colorless and a red and a white. Human Samurai 4/3 with haste. Whenever a samurai or warrior you control attacks alone, it gets +1/+0 until end of turn for each samurai or warrior you control. I kept this guy in the deck because even if it's just this guy and Isshin out on the field and you attack with him, his triggers will go off twice, making him a 6/3 at bare minimum. Very good. Love this card. Also running Junji, the Midnight Sky for 3 colorless and double black, legendary creature, Dragon Spirit, 5/5, flying and menace. When it dies, I get to choose one. Each opponent discards 2 cards and loses 2 life. Or I get to put target non-dragon creature card from your graveyard. Sorry, from a graveyard. Wow, that's even stronger than I thought. Look at that. Put target non-dragon creature from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. You lose 2 life. This guy is even better than I thought. Not only can I recur my stuff, but if you've got something that you like on your side of the field, Junji allows me to snag that. Love it. This guy's so good. Running the Sunblade Samurai. It's 4 colorless and a white. Enchantment creature, human samurai 4/4 with vigilance, which is pretty good, but more often than not, I'll probably use its channel ability for 2 colorless and discard this lady. Search my library for a basic Plains card, reveal it, put it into my hand, and I get to gain 2 life. Which is pretty good because I can do that, get my Plains, and then if I can or need to, find a way to recur Sunblade Samurai. Nice. Last but not least, as far as my creatures go, I'm running Walking Skyscraper for 8 colorless. It's a 8/8. That says that this spell costs 1 less to cast for each modified creature you control, and it has trample. And it's got hexproof as long as it's untapped. Primarily running this guy to have somebody big and beefy in my deck. 8/8 is exactly what I'm looking for, and it's 8/8 with trample, so perfect. Even with its ability, if I can't figure out a way how to get this guy on the field because of its cost, I can always figure out a way how to recur him from the graveyard. So, pretty good. Those are my creatures. Got a lot of them. Take a look at instants. We got Light the Way for white. I get to choose one. Put a +1/+1 counter on target creature or vehicle and untap it. Or I can return target permanent you control to its owner's hand. More often than not, I'm probably going to use the second ability there. Running Reckoner's Bargain for a colorless and a black. Additional cost to cast a spell, sacrifice an artifact or creature. You gain life equal to the sacrificed permanent's mana value, and I get to draw 2 cards. Pretty good. Does the things that I want it to do. Returned action for a colorless and a black. Till end of turn, target creature gets +1/+0 and gains a lifelink. And when this creature dies, return it to the battlefield, tapped under its owner's control. Pretty good. Love that. Doing everything that I want, right? I love this. This is so good. Probably one of my favorite cards in the set. You are already dead for a black. Destroy target creature that was dealt damage this turn and draw a card. Nice. Love that. Very anime. Look at that guy. Oh, yeah. Love that. Running Assassin's Ink for 2 colorless, double black. The spell costs 1 less to cast if you control an artifact, and 1 less to cast if you control an enchantment. Destroy target creature or planeswalker. Let's go. Running Flame Discharge for X and a red. Deals X damage to target creature or planeswalker. If you control a modified creature as you cast a spell, it deals X +2 damage instead. Nice. Running March of Otherworldly Light for X and white. As additional cost to cast this spell, you may exile any number of white cards from your hand. This spell costs 2 less to cast for each card exiled this way. Exile target artifact, creature, or enchantment with mana value X or less. Nice. And running March of Wretched Sorrow for X and black. Additional cost to cast this spell, you may exile any number of black cards from your hand, and this spell costs 2 less to cast for each card exiled this way. March of Wretched Sorrow deals X damage to target creature or planeswalker, and you gain X life. Nice. Those are my instants. Let's look at sorceries here. Running Banishing Slash for 2 white. Destroy up to 1 target artifact, enchantment, or tapped creature. Then if you control an artifact and enchantment, create a 2/2 white samurai creature token with vigilance. Nice, there we go. Love this card, especially in this deck. Soul Transfer for a colorless and double black. Choose one. If you control an artifact and an enchantment, as you cast this spell, you may choose both. Exile target creature or planeswalker, which is really good. Or return target creature or planeswalker card from your graveyard to your hand. I mean, obviously, it'll be situational on how I play this. If I have the opportunity to play both, I definitely will. But if I need something from my graveyard, I can totally get it. Otherwise, this is going to be taking somebody out. But I love this. Running Okiba Salvage for 4 colors and a black. Return target creature or vehicle card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Then put 2 +1/+1 counters on that permanent if you control an artifact and an enchantment. Very nice. And running Farewell for 4 colors and double white. I get to choose one or more. I can exile all artifacts, exile all creatures, exile all enchantments, exile all graveyards. Very good. This says goodbye. Nice. Let's take a look here at my artifacts. Running experimental synthesizer for a red. It says that when it enters or leaves the battlefield, exile the top card of your library. Until end of turn, you may play that card. I can pay 2 in a red to sacrifice this guy, and then I create a 2/2 white samurai creature token with vigilance. Only activate as sorcery. Really using this to help me with card advantage and hopefully getting my land drops in there. Running Ecologist Terrarium for 2 colorless. When it enters the battlefield, you may search your library for a basic land card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle. You can pay 2 and tap and sack, and then put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. Activate only as a sorcery. Pretty good. Also running Mokotai Soul Ripper for a colorless and black. Artifact vehicle 4/3. Whenever it attacks, you may sacrifice another artifact or creature. If you do, put a +1/+1 counter on this guy, and he gains menace until end of turn. You crew it for 2. With Isshin out on the field, that triggers twice. So I can sacrifice 2 guys and put 2 +1/+1 counters on this guy. Pretty good. Running Oni Cult Anvil for black and red. Whenever 1 or more artifacts you control leave the battlefield during your turn, create a 1/1 colorless construct artifact creature token, and this ability triggers only once each turn. I can tap to sacrifice an artifact, and then Oni Cult Anvil deals 1 damage to each opponent, and I get to gain life. Very good in this deck. Running Reckoner Bankbuster for 2 colorless. Artifact vehicle with 4/4. When it enters the battlefield, you put 3 charge counters on it. You pay 2, tap, remove a charge counter to draw a card. And then if there are no charge counters on this guy, you get to create a treasure token and a 1/1 colorless pilot creature token with this creature crews vehicles as though its power were 2 greater. And it's got crew 3. Nice. Running Imperial Recovery Unit for 2 colors and a white. Artifact vehicle 3/4. When it attacks, return target creature or vehicle card with mana value 2 or less from your graveyard to your hand. Crew 2. With Isshin on the field, that triggers twice. Beautiful. Running Network Terminal because I need ramp. It's 3 colors to play. You can tap to add a mana of any color. You can pay 1 and tap it to tap another untapped artifact you control, draw a card, and then discard a card. Very good. Versatile. Probably just going to use it for mana, though. Unless I'm desperate, right? Also, last but not least, running Thunder Steel Colossus for 7 mana. It's a 7/7 artifact vehicle. It's got trample, it's got haste, and it's got crew 2. Again, using this guy because I need some big boys, and this is one of them. So help me get there, hopefully. Nice, there we go. Those are my artifacts. Enchantments. Running Clawing Torment for black. It's an aura. I can enchant an artifact or a creature. As long as an enchanted permanent is a creature, it gets -1/-1 and can't block. Enchanted permanent has at the beginning of your upkeep, you lose 1 life. Nice. Also running Tempered in Solitude for 1 colorless and a red. Whenever a creature you control attacks alone, exile the top card of your library. You may play that card this turn. With Isshin on the field, this triggers twice. Love that. Running Tribute to Harabi for a colorless and a black. Saga. Starts out with a 1 lower counter on turn 1, saying each opponent creates a 1/1 black-red rogue creature token. Second lower counter, second turn, same thing. Third lower counter, third turn says you get to transform this guy, right? becomes Echo of Death's Wail. Becomes an enchantment creature, spirit 3/3 with flying and haste. And when it enters the battlefield, gain control of all rat tokens. And whenever this guy attacks, you may sacrifice another creature. If you do, draw a card. And with Isshin on the field, that triggers twice. Very good. Running Fable of the Mirror Breaker for 2 colorless and a red. Another saga. First turn with the lore counter says create a 2/2 red goblin shaman creature token with whenever this creature attacks, create a treasure token. That is so good. I need this. And Isshin says that the trigger goes twice, so you get to create 2 treasure tokens. Second lore counter and second turn, it says you may discard up to 2 cards. If you do, draw that many cards. And in this deck, I like that as well. And turn 3, you get to transform this guy to Reflection of Kikijiki. Enchantment creature, Goblin Shaman, 2/2. That says you can pay 1 and tap to create a token that's a copy of another target non-legendary creature you control, except it has haste. Sacrifice it at the beginning of the next end step. Very good. Love that. Primarily going to be using that with hopefully the existing goblin that creates treasure tokens, but you never know. Running the Fall of Lord Konda for 2 colorless and a white saga. Turn 1 says exile target creature and opponent controls with mana value 4 or greater. Love that. Number 2 says each player gains control of all permanents they own. I mean, I don't really care about that in my deck. I'm not looking to steal anything. But turn 3 says you turn this guy into Fragment of Konda, which is an enchantment creature, human noble, 1/3 with defender. And when he dies, I get to draw a card. Nice. Running Intercessor's Arrest for 2 colorless and a white. It's an aura. I get to do enchant a permanent, so any permanent at all. I love that. It says that the permanent can't attack, block, or crew vehicles, and its activated abilities can't be activated unless they're mana abilities. Love this card. Running Restoration of Aganjo for 2 colors and a white. Turn 1 says I get to search a library for a basic plains card, reveal it, put it in your hand, then shuffle. Turn 2 says you may discard a card. When you do, return target permanent card with mana value 2 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. I love that. And then turn 3 says you get to transform this guy to Architect of Restoration. Enchantment creature, Fox Monk with 3/4 and Vigilance. It says whenever Architect of Restoration attacks or blocks, create a 1/1 colorless spirit creature token. And with Isshin, that will trigger twice. You get to have 2 tokens there. For the attack, not the block. Pretty good. Running Touch of the Spirit Realm for 2 colors and a white. Says that when it enters the battlefield, exile up to 1 target artifact or a creature until Touch of the Spirit Realm leaves the battlefield. Or I can channel it for a colorless and a white and discard this guy to exile target artifact or creature, and then return to the battlefield under its owner's control at the beginning of the next end step. Very good. Love this card. Running Haritsugu Consumes All for a colorless, a black, and a red. Turn 1 says destroy each non-land permanent with mana value 1 or less. Turn 2 says exile all graveyards. And really, running this because of turn 3. You get Vessel of the All-Consuming. Enchantment creature, Ogre Shaman with 3/3 and Trample. When it deals damage, you get to put a +1/+1 counter on it. Whenever he deals damage to a player, if it's dealt 10 or more damage to that player this turn, they lose the game. This guy's so good. Happy to be able to run him and try him out. Also running the Long Reach of Night for 3 colors and a black. Saga says on turn 1 and 2, each opponent sacrifices a creature unless they discard a card. Turn 3 says we're going to transform this guy into Animus of Night's Reach, another enchantment creature, Spirit 0/4 with Menace. It says that when it attacks, it gets +X/+0 until end of turn, where X is the number of creatures, or the number of creature cards in defending player's graveyard. And with Isshin, that's going to trigger twice. Nice. Also running Twisted Embrace for 2 colors and double black aura. I get to enchant an artifact or a creature I control. When it enters the battlefield, I get to destroy target creature or planeswalker an opponent controls. And then as long as the enchanted permanent is a creature, it gets +1/+1. Very good. Those are my enchantments. Running 1 Planeswalker. Got the Wandering Emperor for 2 colors and double white. It starts out with 3 loyalty. It's got flash. And as long as the Wandering Emperor enters the battlefield this turn, you may activate her loyalty abilities anytime. You could cast an instant. Very good. I can add a +1 her to put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. Gains first strike until end of turn. I can -1 her to create a 2/2 white samurai creature token with vigilance. Or I can -2 her to exile target tapped creature, and then I get to gain 2 life. Nice answer. Very good. Happy to be able to play this. And the lands, other than my basics, of course. Running the Bloodfell Caves, enters tapped. I get to gain a life when it enters. Tap it for either black or red. Also running is Janjo, Seat of the Empire, for tapping it for white, or I can channel it for 2 colors and a white, discard it. Deals 4 damage to target attacking or blocking creature. This ability costs 1 less to activate for each legendary creature you control. Also running Mech Hanger. I can tap for colorless or tap it, add mana of any color, spend mana to cast a pilot or vehicle spell, or pay 3 and tap, and target vehicle becomes an artifact creature till end of turn. Nice. Running Roadside Reliquary to tap for colorless, or I could pay 2, tap it, sack it, draw a card if I control an artifact, and draw a card if I control an enchantment. Nice. Scoured Barrens comes in tapped, gets me a life. Tap it for white or black. Secluded Courtyard. When it enters battlefield, I choose creature type. I can tap for colorless or a mana of any color to spend a mana for that creature type spell, or activate an ability from the chosen creature type. Pretty good. Running Sokenzan, Crucible of Defiance. Tap it for a red, or I can channel it for 3 colors and a red. Discard it and create 2 1/1 colorless spirit creature tokens, and they gain haste till end of turn. Costs 1 less to activate for each legendary that I control. Running Takenuma, Abandoned Mire. Tap it for black, or I can channel it, pay 3 and a black to discard it, to mill 3 cards, then return a creature or planeswalker card from my graveyard to my hand, and then this ability costs 1 less to activate for each legendary I own. Uncharted Haven, enters tapped. I get to pick a color, and then tap for the 1 mana of the chosen color. Very good. And then last but not least, running Windscarred Crag, enters tapped, gives me life when it enters, and I can tap it for either red or white. And then the rest of my cards that I got going on, they are basic lands. So that's my Isshin. 2 Heavens is 1 deck. Not as heavily focused on his ability to trigger multiple times for attack triggers, just because of my options for cards. but I was able to figure out a way how to get this deck up and running and playable. So I'm going to go ahead and see about try to take some guys out with this new set. If you like this video, like, share, and subscribe. Comment down below if you've got any suggestions moving forward. I will be getting more cards for this set. I just haven't decided exactly what those are going to look like. But that will happen in the future. Thank you guys very much for watching. Really appreciate it. Hope you have a good day and have fun.